Hi, again, I'm Mark Megna. This is video one of Ayn Rand, The Virtue of Selfishness. Just to expand a little bit on the introduction that we had, um, Ayn Rand, the virtue of selfishness, really means self interest, man's pursuit of happiness and freedom and achievement is one's highest goal here on earth, a realistic viewpoint of the potential of man. And just to expand before we get into the book, she believed altruism was actually evil because it didn't believe in the greatness of man. Altruism believes giving of yourself to others, and if that as a political system or philosophical belief, socialism, of giving yourself to others was a self-defeating uh, position. So she believed in self-interest for one's own interest is the way society and happiness would be achieved. Religions throughout the ages and socialism believe in altruism, giving to others is the highest form of existence, and she completely rejected that. And also in the intro, God was no concern to her whatsoever. What happens after death, none of those issues were of any concern to her whatsoever. Everything was based on realism, production here on earth. So, with that, we'll begin. I was just going to start to read some of the beginning part of the book. The title of this book may evoke the kind of question that I hear once in a while. Why do you use the word selfishness to denote virtues, qualities of character, when that word antagonizes so many people to whom it does not mean the things you mean? To those who ask it, my answer is yes, for the reason that makes you afraid of it. But there are others who would not ask that question, sensing the moral cowardice it implies, yet who are unable to formulate my actual reason or to identify the profound moral issue involved. It is to them that I will give a more explicit answer. It is not a mere semantic issue, nor a matter of arbitrary choice. The meaning ascribed in the popular usage of the word selfishness is not merely wrong, it represents a devastating intellectual package deal which is responsible, more than any other single factor, for the arrested moral development of mankind. In popular usage, the word selfishness is a synonym of evil. Evil. The image it conjures is of murderous brute who tramples over piles of corpses to achieve his own ends, who cares for no living being and pursues nothing but the gratification of the mindless whims of an immediate moment. Yet, yet the exact meaning and dictionary definition of the word selfishness is concern with one's own self-interests. This concept does not include a moral evaluation. It does not tell us whether concern with one's own interests is good or evil, nor does it tell us what constitutes man's actual interests. It is the task of ethics to answer such questions. The ethics of altruism has created the image of the brute as its answer, in order to make men accept two inhuman tenets: that any concern with one's own interests is evil, regardless of what these interests might be, and that the brute's activities are in fact to one's own interests, which altruism enjoins man to renounce for the sake of his neighbors. For a view of the nature of altruism, its consequences, and the enormity of the moral corruption it perpetrates, I shall refer you to Atlas Shrugged or to any of today's newspaper headlines. What concerns us here is altruism's default in the field of ethical theory. There are two moral questions which altruism lumps together into one package deal. What are values, and who should be the beneficiary of those values? Altruism substitutes the second for the first. It evades the task of defining a code of moral values, thus leaving man in fact without moral guidance. Altruism declares that any action taken for the benefit of others is good, and any action taken for one's own benefit is evil. Thus, the beneficiary of an action is the only criterion of moral value, and so long as the beneficiary is anybody other than oneself, anything goes. Observe the indecency of what passes for moral judgment today. An industrialist who produces a fortune and a gangster who robs a bank are regarded as equally immoral, since they both sought wealth for their own selfish benefit. A young man who gives up his career in order to support his parents and never rises beyond the rank of grocery clerk is regarded as morally superior to the young man who endures an excruciating struggle and achieves his personal ambition. A dictator is regarded as moral, since the unspeakable atrocities he committed were intended to benefit the people, not himself. Observe what this beneficiary criterion of morality does to a man's life. The first thing he learns is that morality is his enemy. He has nothing to gain from it, he can only lose. Self-inflicted loss, self-inflicted pain, and the gray, debilitating pale of an incomprehensible duty is all that he can expect. He may hope that others might occasionally sacrifice themselves for his benefit, as he grudgingly sacrificed himself for others. And this is why she believed altruism was evil, because you're giving yourself up for others against your own self-interest. This goes contrary to the survival of the fittest, nature of man, survival instinct. Altruism is giving up of oneself to society and also to God throughout religion, of submission to God and all the rules that have been put forth. She was against all of this restriction on freedom. And that's the end of video 1.